Nigeria, Transport, Ghana as well, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome, Melissa. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, like I said before, my name is Takunda. I'm in Toronto, Ontario, and I'm an HR professional as well. 8+ years experience, and exactly 2 months ago, which is 8 weeks ago, on I think it was the 14th or 13th of December, I was sitting on the other side, like all of you. I registered for a webinar like this because, of course, HR. So I really had to, have a self-check-in and to have a self-talk with myself and let myself know that I needed the knowledge, right? So I was sitting on the other side as well. And 8 weeks later, I'm glad to say I'm very confident and proud of that decision that I had to make. So let's jump right into it. We have exactly 50 minutes, almost 53 minutes left together with the time that we have. We are going to be diving into labor relations today, and we do have two amazing speakers that are going to be sharing with us today. And they're going to be sharing their knowledge, experience, and we're all here to learn. So it's from their perspective, from their experiences as well. Feel free to put questions in the chat. We'll be checking the chat, any comments that you have along the way as we start, and we will get right into those right at the end of it. First and foremost, we have Bumi, the lady in the house, who will be sharing her vast experience with us today. So Bumi is a senior HR leader with over 15 years experience across diverse and complex organizational environments, bringing expertise in labor relations and employee relations, workforce governance, and HR strategy, and has built and strengthened HR functions that operate with both operational discipline and strategic intent. Bumi is very well known for partnering closely with executive leadership to navigate sensitive workforce matters while maintaining credibility with employees and union stakeholders. Her approach to labor relations is grounded in trust, sound judgment, long-term relationship management. She believes that real test of HR leadership shows up under pressure when balancing compliance, business urgency, union engagement, and it does require both technical competence and steady influence. So Bumi looks forward to contributing practical insights on how HR can shape outcomes while protecting both organizational integrity and labor partnerships. Wow, wow, wow. That is profound, and I'm absolutely looking forward to learning from Bumi today. If you don't have a notepad and a pen, please grab one quickly and some water, because you're going to need to drink some of this down as we get to learn. I see Francis from Cameroon, welcome. I see Barrett from India, Mumbai, welcome as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Our second speaker and convener of this webinar is Imole. Imole Ashobon is a seasoned HR leader and career strategist with over 16 years of experience across Canada and global Fortune 500 environments. Currently leads HR and labor relations at a leading Alberta university here in Canada, where he oversees collective bargaining, compliance, culture transformation, and institutional workforce strategy. Throughout his career, Imole has advised CEOs and senior leaders on navigating complex people decisions, strengthening organizational effectiveness, and building high-performing systems. I absolutely believe that. Beyond executive leadership, he has supported more than 1,000 professionals in securing meaningful roles in Canada and mentors HR practitioners transitioning into more strategic and authoritative roles. As an HR instructor at the University of Calgary, he designs and teaches programs that prepare the next generation of HR leaders with over 58,000 engaged professionals. Following his insights on LinkedIn, Imole is widely recognized as a trusted voice in strategic HR and modern labor relations. I've learned from the best, and if you're ready, you're going to be in for a treat today. Again, welcome everyone. So why should you listen to us in this webinar? Why should you listen to Bomi? Why should you listen to Imole? Ignoring labor relations fundamentals really costs your organizations thousands in avoidable grievances. I'm sure if you're not familiar with the terms labor relations, grievances, then you are definitely in the right place to be learning. Secondly, your employees already know that collective agreements are better. Sorry, your employees already know the collective agreements better than your managers do. So we all know how managers, supervisors are promoted, sometimes from the shop floor levels. And that supervisor and managerial experience really lacks for them, and other shop floor membership knows the collective agreement better than them. Thirdly, one preventative mistake can derail months of progress and damage workplace trust. And what you learn today could save your organization from its next costly arbitration. If that doesn't prompt you to keep listening, I'm not sure what does. So we will definitely be listening so much to the two speakers that we have who are going to be answering some of the questions that we have for them today. So who is this webinar for? All of us who are here, right? HR professionals new to Canadian HR practices, or maybe you are anticipating to come to Canada, or you just want some more perspective to be able to relate it to where you are from. Secondly, professionals aspiring to specialize in labor relations, professionals looking to master working in unionized environments, and HR leaders who want stronger authority in conflict moments. Generally, HR professionals, any HR professional needs to be listening in today. And so from the list, where do you fall into? If you're able to comment quickly for me, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, where do you lie in this mix? Quickly, if I can see, someone says number 4. Yes, we have a leader there who wants to avoid conflict. We have a number 2 there, professionals aspiring to specialize. Number 1. Yeah, we see all of you. Thank you so much for your responses. Number 4, we have great leaders. Thank you so much. Number 3, I see you. I see you. I see you. All of the above, Abigail. Thank you. Yes, that's everyone. All of the above. 2 and 3. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. 4 based in Kenya. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that engagement. Keep chatting, keep dropping any comments, any questions already. We can take them. I can see them. Jamaica in the house. Welcome, 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 Karen. Thank you so much. A few housekeeping rules. If you're able to keep yourselves on mute as we go through these presentations, speakers answering your questions. So turn off all distractions if you're able to. Keep your phones off or on silent. Keep yourselves on mute as well. Take notes, take notes, take notes. As an HR professional, that's our mandate. Documentation, documentation, documentation. If it's not in writing, it did not happen. And absolutely drop your questions in the chat because we are looking out for them. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to me again. Happy Valentine's to everyone. Let's work on the labor relationships first, and then after this hour we can go ahead and work on the other relationships. So by the end of this webinar, you will definitely learn 1, hidden capability gaps that we have between HR generalist work and labor relations authority that we are going to get at the end of this webinar, by the end of this webinar. Why good HR professionals struggle when disputes escalate. Thirdly, how experienced labor relations professionals think about risk, leverage, and timing. And number 4, the mindset shift that's required to move from execution to authority. So we have a vast number of people who are joining us today who will require practical ways to start building LR credibility in their current role. So whether it's just from an administrative level, which you would be at, or on a senior level, everyone is here to learn. So thank you so much for your engagement. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Are you ready for us to start? Drop a heart, fire emoji, clap your hands. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Smile, thumbs up if everyone is ready to have our first speaker start with us. How this will work today is we have a set of questions that we're going to be asking our presenters and our speakers today. And I have them with me today. Bumi and Imole, are you ready to work with me? Everyone is ready to. So to start it off, I'll start with Bumi. Your first question that we have that everyone is ready to hear from you and to listen in. Number one. At what moment does HR stop supporting the process and start shaping the outcome in labor relations? Bumi, if you'd like to go first.
Thanks, Tanya. I'll say, for me, it's every opportunity I get to meet labor. But generally speaking, I say that because we start to think about shaping labor relations when we perceive risk. So, which is why I say at every labor relations interaction, or every interaction with the union, because once you're talking to the union about something, chances are that, risk is going to come out, which is why you're talking about that. So if I'll give an example of that, is imagine that, before I give an example, let me just explain what I mean by that. Now, at every conversation you have with with labor, you're sitting on the side of management. Labor is representing the union. However, also remember that members of the union are your employees. So it's not you against them, which is the one thing I love to say all the time, even to my managers. It is us together trying to resolve issues in a practical way. So having said that, I have some notes here for you that I will just refer to as I'm speaking. When we get into these conversations and we're beginning to talk, we're thinking of the risk that are involved. But at that point, you're also thinking, is grievance likely in this conversation? If we're issuing discipline, if it's a disciplinary matter, are we going to be setting precedents? The way we talk about the language, is it possible to be subject to interpretation? And could this interpretation be binding in future decisions? And then is union, or are the union watching for patterns in how you make decisions and not just incidents? Those factors are what determine when you're shaping outcome of the labor relations or you're just supporting process. At the point where risk again is noted, you cannot be supporting process, because supporting process can actually lead you to bigger issues. That is why we're saying, once you find out that risk is involved, then you're not just supporting process, you're not just going to the collective agreement, you're not just going to routine, you begin to shape the outcome of labor relations. I'll be happy to answer more if you have supporting questions, or if you want me to give an example there, I'm happy to do that.
For sure. If you can go ahead with examples, you still have 30 seconds from me.
Okay, so let's go with a quick example. Imagine that there is a manager comes and complains that an employee has been coming late, and because of that, they want to suspend the employee. Now, you go through it. To go through processes to look at the collective agreement. What does collective agreement say? Have we gone through progressive discipline? We can suspend. But shaping labor relations outcomes is actually looking at it more holistically. Is it the only employee that is late? Are there other things behind it happening in the department? With looking at those patterns, you can now begin to clearly see this is not the only employee that is late. If we go ahead and suspend, will this lead to a grievance? And when you determine this can lead to a grievance because this is not the only employee, other employees have been having it, you can decide to do something else instead of just suspending, which, by the way, going by the collective agreement, you are well within your right. So that's process. But shaping the outcome is it. Then we talk to the manager. This is not the only thing that is happening. We're seeing other things happening. This can lead to a grievance. Instead of going the route of suspension, how about we give a final warning? While we give the final warning, we also give a general warning to the team to say, or to the department to say, we've noticed this, henceforth, we will not be tolerating this. This is the consequence of this action. Now, Then we also notify managers, that manager and other managers. This is happening. We need everybody to buckle up. If we do that, we will not have issued a suspension, but we will have dealt with the problem. We will have given that person one more chance, but would have also immediately avoided a grievance, which would happen if we had gone ahead with suspension. Because the idea behind grievance is the union will come and say, but this is not the only person that's been late to work. How come this is the only person you're punishing? And that leads to another issue entirely. So that is a very quick example of what I mean by shaping outcome as against going by the process. Again, you're well within your right to go through the process. However, you do not want to deal with the grievance. So you're supporting managers and you're supporting the organization by looking for other ways to resolve it.
President Imole, over to you, sir. I'm not sure if you were able to say anything after that, but I trust you.
Yeah, I don't thank you so much, Takunda. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I don't think I have any other thing to add. The word is just precedence, right? You want to think about, is this going to lay a precedent, you know? And sometimes you also, as a leader, you must understand that there are political signals. There are also structural signals when it comes to, you know, shipping as a union, a labor relations person. So you want to see, is this signaling something broader to the bargaining units? Are you getting what I'm saying? What we are doing. So at the end of the day, once you can refine management's rights in practice, you are beginning to shape LR. So you're thinking about precedents, you're thinking about shaping the outcomes. What would this look like in practical terms? You know, because really influence, if the decision will influence how similar cases will be handled in the future, that's precedent. The decision will signal something broader to the management unit, is critical. And at the same time, if it's going to redefine management's rights, because that's what the union is always fighting for. And that's what you must protect. I use that word carefully, but that's what you must protect as an LR leader, right? And you're balancing that act. So that's my only little addition to that.
Thank you so much. And I will sprinkle it with what I have here, that HR stops supporting the process when and starts shaping the outcome when we recognize that neutrality is not passivity. It is principled influence.
Mhm.
Well, I'll start with you, Imole, for the second one. When leadership pushes for speed, how should HR respond without losing credibility or influence with the union?
That's a very good question. So I'll say it this way, speed is not the enemy here, right? Poor framing can be the enemy. You know, so when leadership wants urgency, HR needs to be able to slow down and translate it into what I call structural decisiveness. You know, you can't, HR can never be reactive. When we are reactive, we begin to lose points. When we are reactive, we begin to do things that are less strategic and more administrative. You understand? So this is what you want to do as an HR professional. They're asking for speed. You need to, number one, clarify the operational risk of delay, right? Because in HR, there's always gray areas. We are balancing act. So you want to clarify what is you cannot see my video. Oh, okay. Thank you for saying that. That's interesting. Okay, if I can put that. What is the okay? Can you see my video now? Okay, thank you for telling me that. So you want to clarify the operational risk of delay. You understand? Because sometimes a leader might just be under pressure and they are not seeing things fully. They are seeing one lens. So you want to clarify. Then you want to identify what's the relational risk of rushing. Unions don't like surprises. Unions are watching. There are so much indicators. They are watching how you're handling things. They are watching how you're managing things. So you want to look at it. How would this rush decision impacts our relationship? Because the relationship with union is long term. You don't want to win now and lose later. That's why I tell people managing in a unionized environment is not a win-lose situation. It's not, you can't have this, it was a collaborative and integrative at most, not combative. So you're thinking about that. And then you are now working with the leader to present a calibrated path forward. That's why experienced HR leaders can move fast, but they know that their decision will send what their decisions is impacting does not put the union in a position where they are resisting our speed, right? You don't want the union to Like Bomi said earlier on, you don't want them to immediately flip and start seeing you as the enemy because you are doing things so fast. And in actual sense, you're not really rushing. You are. It's just that at that you are just being reactive at that moment, or the leader has been going through all of that and they have refused to communicate. There's a change management aspect of working in a unionized environment as well. So you don't want a situation where the union resists your unpredictability. They don't like surprises. They'll perceive it as disrespect. So you must be able to work with your leader strategically to say, what is the real risk here, right? How would this impact our relationship, right? And then present a calibrated path forward. Everything does not need to be done now. If everything needs to be done urgently, and that's our pattern, then there's a problem, right? that's what I'll say to that.
Amazing. I have a union rep who always reminds us the sky is always falling in this organization. So
That's not a good one, but yeah, the sky should always be falling. There's something wrong
it's
somewhere.
always falling in this organization. Everything is urgent. So that's something we need to manage. Bumi, over to you, Matt. The question again, when leadership pushes for speed, how should HR respond without losing credibility or influence with the union? 3 minutes for you.
I'll start by saying this. HR is always in an interesting position. HR partners or is a member of management, but HR is also a member of union. I say that especially the labor relations person. First thing, as a member of management, this is one of the reasons why you must have a seat at the executive table.
Mm.
So that you're not hearing things the first time when it is urgent.
Mm.
For me, if you're hearing things the first time when it is urgent, it is too late.
Mm.
You should be hearing it before it's urgent, because hearing it before it becomes urgent signals for you to start to put things in place early. The way I work with my union is very collaborative, which is why I say HR is a member of the union. I'm not at the meetings, union meetings and all of that. But we have such a close relationship, and that's important to me because sometimes things like this happen. And so when leadership pushes for speed, there's a soft side to it, there's a hard side to it. The soft side is what I've just explained, the relationship building.
Yeah.
Not hearing things for the first time when it's too late, and also being a part of having a cordial relationship with the union. The harder part of it is how we eventually deal with it, which is when those things happen, my first approach is to deal with leadership, or to deal with with leadership, that's the term you used. And it's really to paint scenarios for them. You have said this, the sky is falling. Okay. 3 scenarios. The sky is falling, we need to move fast. If we move fast, the sky will fall faster and the whole earth will collapse.
You crumble.
Scenario. We can't go that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's your decision. If we go the second scenario, this is what will happen. And when I do scenarios, I put numbers to it. I put real-time examples and possibilities to it. So you're seeing worst case scenario first. You're seeing mild case scenario. First case scenario, usually in this kind of situation, everybody loses. Yeah. We waste time. So you think it's fast, but honestly, we may be there for another 1-2 years trying to resolve this in arbitration.
Mm-hmm.
Medium-term scenario, usually nobody wins, nobody loses, but it is an inconvenience. Best case scenario is what I present last.
Yeah.
Because I take my time better there, and my hope is that after that we can continue the conversation on the best case scenario. But I present these scenarios to them with numbers, with duration, with real-time effect on the morals of individuals, and real-time effect on the business. Once I have presented that scenario to them, whatever we decide on, and a lot of times it's not the best case scenario for HR, but whatever it is I have presented to them at that time, I then go to the union and say to the union, this is what we are working with. What do we do? And that's usually a more conversational discussion than it is a formal conversation with the union. Then we come to an agreement. A lot of times it's not an agreement either party likes, but for the sustainability of the organization, which is what you're pointing out at every point in time. So you haven't won, but the organization ultimately has won at this time.
Yeah.
So sometimes we go with the speed, sometimes we don't. But our job as HR advisors to leadership and as partners to the union, ensuring that employee well-being overall is overseen properly, is to let the people, the parties we are working with, know the implications of decisions we're making. See again that we are coming to the table with the interest of the employees and the organizations at heart, as against trying to, what's the word, protect the interest of one person against the other.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, your union leader said the sky is always falling. Yes, in every organization, the sky is always falling. We always have to move with speed, but we can't always do it.
Absolutely. So that urgency, like you both shared, should never outrun fairness. Right? But when we brought in a very interesting point of data as well in her response. So I hope you took a note of that as well. Data never lies, right? Data, the numbers never lie when you do put numbers to your responses. Just a kind reminder to put yourselves on mute during this session so that everyone can benefit fully from the responses that we're getting from our speakers. Third question, what separates a technically competent HR professional from a true labor relations authority under pressure? I'll go through that question again. What separates a technically competent HR professional from a true labor relations authority under pressure? Fumi, I'll have you first on this one.
Okay, Takula, can you change the screen so that people can see the question?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Sorry, multiple hands on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I will start by saying a story. I had been a HR professional for over 10 years before I did my first labor relations job. And at the time, I had just come to Canada, and it was like, I wanted the job, I liked it, but I didn't really know what labor relations is. I had an idea, but again, it's not the same thing over jurisdiction. And so I took the job, I started, and my very first union meeting, I was thrown out. In fact, I would say my first, second, third, perhaps up to the fifth. I will go for union meetings having palpitations because I was not prepared. Nothing prepared me for it. And the first 6 weeks of redemption, I had to terminate somebody in the union.
Oh, yeah. Wow. In Canada.
I don't know why they hired me, because they had asked a question about what if you have to terminate, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, if you have to do it, you have to do it. So long as progressive discipline has gone, you're giving accommodation, but you get it done. Textbook answer. I had no idea what I was walking into. 5 years later, I come down. But yeah. And so having asked this question, I think I'm actually the place to answer, because I can look back 5 years and say it's very different. One of the things I would say is emotional discipline. The labor union reps will test you. It will be in tone, it will be in aggression, it will be in threats, it will be in urgency of the matter. It comes in different forms. Like we like to say in Nigeria, it's buzz. But just having emotional discipline, knowing not to react, knowing not to react to those things, and just being calm, keeping a straight face in the midst of everything while you think of how you want to respond to it is very important. I cannot overemphasize emotional discipline. It's not a place where you falter at the insinuations and you keep a straight face. A second thing you have to, I think that is really important for you to do is, it goes back to this first question you said, being able to think about how you're shaping outcomes and not just following process. That has to be behind your mind in every decision you make. And I would say so long as you're doing it in labor relations, it actually helps you even in employee relations and dealing with the organization. It helps you become more strategic HR leader. Just knowing that every decision you make, every conversation you have can and will be used against you when the opportunity arrives. Another thing I'll say is controlled language. Everything you say becomes exhibits. Words are exhibits. Documentation is exhibits. So you have to be careful how you're delivering messaging, how you are having conversations. You need to be careful. Your tone can be object of argument. Again, everything you say and write can and may be used against you at some point. So thinking about all those things, but you also you have to recognize patterns in the things you do. What past issues have happened? What past settlements have happened? And how are you setting precedents? So in dealing with issues, how have we dealt with it in the past? That, you know, that informs how we deal with it in the future. How is leadership behaving towards people? How is leadership behaving? What's kind of, how many times is sky falling? What pattern? Is it sky falling in one department? Is it falling in different departments? Recognize patterns. This helps you in your conversations. This helps you in your arguments. This actually helps in your demands that you're making from the union. Then your union strategy. How do you want to engage with them? You know, is it combative? Is it collaborative? I always prefer the collaborative part. I think it gives more results quicker, easier, it builds trust, it protects the employees. But those are all patterns that you have to look out for. You have to be good at pattern recognition as a labor relations expert. Yeah, Imola.
You're on mute, sir.
Good.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right. So I see it this way. What separates a technically competent HR professional? I think a couple of things. So HR is a body of knowledge. Labor relations is a body of knowledge. And for some people here who are not in that space already, or you are aspiring, you need to understand that labor relations is back on the rise, especially in Canada. So there's a need for it. But the first part to it is having the technical know-how. You must understand the body of knowledge to be able to operate effectively in that. But what really separates the one that has authority from the one that is, is just technical sound is a couple of things. Number one is context. Like Bumia said, what is the context? When you have authority, you have context, right? You are not just jumping into it haphazardly. You understand the full picture, not just what you're hearing, but what is underneath. When they say this, what is happening, where it's coming from, either from past practice, either from an agenda, either for something that is about to happen in the future. When we are going to the tables, the dynamics is different from 8 months to the tables or 2 years to the tables. So you must understand the context. Then timing is important. A sound labor relations expert understand timing. They understand you must understand timing. You must understand when to do what, not just why or how, right? You might push a particular agenda or introduce something at the wrong time and it blows up in your face. Then you understand power dynamics, right? You must know how to play your game. You're not coming to the meeting just blindsided. You understand who is who pushes the needle. You understand who to make a call to before that meeting. Forget it. And then optics, you know what I mean? You also understand how to manage your ego. Everybody has ego, but at the tables, you must understand how to manage your ego. If you push ego in front where it's supposed to be strategy or emotional intelligence in applying or managing a situation, you mess things up, right? Because again, you're dealing with people. So that's very important. So I say this to you that authority would, if you are new in the business or if you are competent, you say, what does the clause say? What does clock say? What does this clause say? You might be arguing around the clause, but no. Somebody with authority will say, what will this decision cost us 3 grievances from now? You're going beyond the clause, because while the clause is there are other factors. There's past practice, there's SOP, there's all of those things. So for you to be grounded, you must understand these things. And it comes with practice, and it comes with applying yourself to the nuance of who you are dealing with and what you really want to achieve. That would be my addition.
Amazing, amazing. I'm not sure if everyone is getting what I'm getting from this conversation so far from our experts, that that bird's eye view is always important for HR professionals, not just what you have in front of you, but being able to see the ground under and over it, like the full circle of the situation, in order for you to deal with these situations as grievances as they come in and day out. And the union as well, right? They're people. They're people who we have to work with, who we've introduced into our organization. So in closing of that, I would say authority under pressure really earns you respect, right, at the table, as Bome said in the beginning. Our fourth question, and Imola, you'll have a take first on this one. When a dispute escalates, what is the first judgment call experienced LR professionals make that others often miss?
That's a good question. And I deal with this a lot, especially when working with leaders on my side. The first critical thing you must think about as an LR person, that is the first question you must ask is this about principles or about power? Never mistaken it. People have agendas. People have interest. You must be able to know where this is coming from. Why is it escalating? You don't just jump into it. So you must understand. Or you also must ask, is this about perception? Is there a perception somewhere? So many escalate because they argue fast. Express HR leaders, express labor leaders, they first diagnose motive first. What is the motive? Right? So it's like a marriage sometimes, I'm speaking from the guy's side. Sometimes your wife might be fighting about the mug on the table and all of that, but it's not about the mug, right? It's not about the fact that you put your shoes on the floor. There's something bigger or there's something deeper underneath that is, that is just the manifestation. And believe you me, you don't have aliens in the workplace. You have human beings. So as a solid HR professional, it's similar. You must be able to decipher before you respond. Solid HR leaders, experienced one will ask, what's happening here? What's going on here? Is it, and then once you're able to diagnose it, you begin to understand what is the underlying cause, right? And you begin to look into it. Right now, we're seeing an escalation in grievances, man. And it's not like something new is happening. The grievances are going high. There's something happening. And I've dealt with something like that. And when I dug deep, I realized that they are really pushing. The union went to report the shop stewards to say, hey, like these guys they're in bed with management, right? Meanwhile, they're not. They're just being objective, but that push was happening. So if I started attacking the grievances and working with managers to deal with that, that's a wrong push. That's a wrong strategy. It's to go back to the source and say, hey, what's happening here? I'm seeing this, and as a solid HR leader, as a solid labor relation person, you have to be data driven. You cannot be emotional driven. You cannot be ego driven. You have to be driven by the data. You have to have clear understanding what is happening in the grapevine. You have to know what is happening on the streets of your floor of amongst the staff, right? So once you are able to know all of those contexts, which is critical, then you have less misses, right? And you start dealing with issues effectively. So always understand what it's about. There's always smoke. There's always fire before smoke. Know where the fire is coming from, and you manage issues better.
There's no smoke without fire, right? And right quickly, Bomi, if you can quickly, in 1.5 minutes, take on that question as well.
There's not much to ask. It's the same thing. Understand why. If you know the why, you know how to deal with it. I agree with Imole. Is it an ego issue? Is it a perception issue? Is it a principle issue? If you can understand the why, which is why, like I said again earlier, you need to be in bed with your union members, your union leaders. No, not in bed, maybe, but you need to have a close working relationship.
The terms that we are using today, it's Valentine's. Someone's talking about you bed. Let's keep it labor relations.
But having a close relationship with them, know where the power lies, helps you understand who you should be talking to, where you should be getting this information, and understanding what is driving this. Once you understand what is driving it, honestly, there's no judgment call before understanding the why. After you understand the why, then you know how to deal with it.
Mhm.
But a lot of times it's not just about the grievance that has been. The grievance is the vehicle for which they are pushing this process, but that is not what it's,
For sure.
that's not what they're
Exactly.
trying to resolve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
My
that.
experience now to date is with this uptick in grievances, there's no communication, right? We have no other way to talk to you guys other than writing it down because the conversation is not there. So very, very, very well put out. Thank you so much both for that. Number 5, we'll just go back one question. Number 5, or we can start with number 6, which is on, or whichever way. Number 6, which is on the screen, we can start with that and go back to number 5. So if someone wants to move from HR generalist to labor relations authority, what capability must they build first and why? I think Bomi would be a perfect person to start with this question from her experience. So over to you, ma'am.
I think if you want to move, first thing, go attend the labor relations course. Go sit and listen. Attend this kind of meetings and listen to professionals. You don't have to suffer what I suffered. Yet it helps to get the technical knowledge first. This is one of the places where I say maybe technical knowledge over experiential knowledge, just because of how tense those meetings can be. So get a certification, get a course, attend one of these free trainings, whatever it is. Get into structured places where you can learn structurally what labor relations is, how it's handled. Once you understand that, then you can go on to other things and all of that. But if you're already in an environment that has labor relations, like you're working in an organization that has a union, I would say you should be doing this kind of, go learn your collective agreement. That was the best advice that my CEO gave me when I jumped into it and I started. And he said, see, Bomi, you're going to learn your collective agreement as if it's a Bible. You must learn it. You will read it. You will understand it. Now I can quote parts of the collective, in fact, virtually all the collective agreements. I can't read it like I will read verses, but when issues happen, there's that instinct. It is when you understand what's there that you can now begin to understand, you can begin to apply judgments and most of the things that we've talked about. But you have to know what the process is first. However, going back, first thing you have to learn to build capacity is to actually go sit under, a course, a certification, get the technical knowledge. I cannot overemphasize that. It is very important.
So true. So true. Experience is the best teacher, right? No experience will ever get lost. And get experience, get the knowledge, get the understanding. It will help you in
experience can be very expensive if you go for experience before technical knowledge.
Before technical knowledge. So true. So true. Imole, over to you, sir. You can unmute yourself. You're unmuted, sir. You're muted.
Sorry. So I'm going to be fast here as much as I can because of our time. I see that the different questions in the chat. Thank you. So, I mean, you've covered the fundamentals. And I love what Bomi just said now. Experience can be expensive. And you must understand that if you've not worked in the LR space, because LR is a different shebang on its own, right? It's a body of knowledge. There are core technicalities. If you don't understand how the CLC works, you don't understand the labor board, you don't understand the concept of the union, grievances, arbitration, CBA, Estopel. There's so much you need to know. You can't wing. You must get the technical knowledge. You must understand the body of knowledge. Because you are introducing a new, it's like I was telling my management recently, the fact that the union came in is like a married set of people, married people who are introducing a lawyer into their bedroom. And that lawyer has the legal right to be there. You're not separated, but he arbitrates everything for you. And so if you have to be a solid HR person, you must understand the technical part. And that can be learned, right? I'll talk a bit about our course and how it can help you. But the critical thing here is judgment, right? Judgment is built through discipline experience. You must be exposed to it because of the complexity, right? I used to do LR before I came to Canada, but when I came to Canada, it was a different a different system. The body was different. How we sort issues. When I used to go to Niger Delta, then I sometimes go for union meeting. I go with a bag of money. I'm sorry to say that, but that's a fact. I go with two mopos because it was Niger Delta and our guys they were unionized. And I'll carry a bag of money and they'll send two armored men with me. But I still have to go and talk labor relations and negotiate with them. But in Canada, it's totally different. And I'm sure in some other countries here. So the critical thing is understand the body of knowledge. Then, specifically, you must understand courage. Courage to advise leadership when they are emotionally charged. Courage to manage it. Without judgment, technical skills will still become reactive. So you need technical skills and then you need the judgment part. And that comes with experience, that comes with exposure, that comes with interacting with the nuances of working in a labor relations environment. And that is rewarding. That's what I say to you, especially in Canada right now. It's very rewarding. Many organizations are getting unionized and they are looking for labor relations experts. A lot of labor relations experts are retiring. There's a demand for it right now. And I think once you apply your heart to it, and a lot of people run from it, it might be difficult in quotes, but believe you me, I mean, it can't be long before you get jobs. I know that. Opportunities are bound for you because they need that special skills, and that's a critical part. Okay.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much to both of you for, just sharing personal experiences, and professional experiences as well in this our LR journey together here. We'll quickly jump into the chat because we have a few minutes left together here and a number of questions. So I have a question.
Wait, Takunda.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, why just talk about the course first, and after that we take the question.
For sure. Let's jump right into it. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Let me just go through this quickly. I mean, there's a lot that has been shared today, and for people who you can hear me, right?
Please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, excuse me. I think after number 4 question, you treated number 6 and said you were going back to number 5 later.
Right. So that's in the interest of time. And I also figured, so the question we had for number 5 was, in unionized environments across Canada, how do power dynamics shape outcomes more than policy language? And I figured that question was broadly covered in all the responses that we were provided by our speakers before.
Beautiful.
That's for your record and for your interest, Sylvia, in your question. The question that I had for number 5, which we skipped over, was in unionized environments.
Sorry, please. Do you mind putting the number 5 question on the screen, please?
I'll put it in the chat for everyone.
In the chat here.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Once it goes through the course information, I'll put it in the chat right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, I mean, as we begin to round off, just a couple of things to share with us. One of the things that we're bringing to you is the opportunity to get deeper in and strengthen in labor relations in Canada, right? And so we have the Advanced Labor Relations Certificate course. This course, at the end of the training, it gives you deep understanding of the Canadian labor relations landscape, which is unique challenges. You understand how to negotiate, you understand real-world case studies and scenarios. You have a deeper understanding, of understanding the complexity of labor relations in the Canadian workspace, which employers are looking for, and how to communicate. I tell people HR is about language. You must know how to use the right language in the right context, and you win the hearts of people that matter. And it comes by training, right? And so this course is a real world case scenarios, real situations taught by experts, in the world of labor relations. Also, our organization is certified by HRCI, which means that you get CPD hours. We just put in for the new certification. We're waiting to hear back. New accreditation updating it. We're waiting to hear back from them. But you get heavy CPD hours because they've evaluated our course and they see that it's above standards. It's not just standards. You get a badge that you can share on LinkedIn. You get a certificate at the end of the course. You can present to your boss or your organizations. We've seen a lot of professionals use this, and the organizations paid for the course, right? So far, we've had over 40. Now we have I think we have over 50 people that have graduated from the course. They are taking from the course. These are real people. You can check them up. Takunda is one of our wonderful folks who have gone through the course. It is practical. It is insightful. These are some of the things some people have said, especially immigrants or people who are new to LR in Canada. You can just, I mean, I tell people HR is the same everywhere globally. HR is the same. How you hire, how you fire, you train is the same. But what is different in Canada is the culture and the context. You don't know that by wishing. You know that by immersing yourself. You know that exposing or learning, relearning. You know about that. And these are some of the things people have said about the course. I know people have changed jobs to 2 LR jobs within 2 years, and they started HR and LR in Canada, you know, because it's practical, it's insightful, it's contextual, right? It is contextual, and it gives you all the joy, all the benefit. This is what Takunda said about the course, right? And it is a transformational experience. That's all I can share with you. What else can I say? It's gonna. I'm the facilitator. I bring in some other solid people. I'm the key facilitator of this course. This is what I do. This is what I braid, and it's what I even teach in University of Calgary, right? And it's a clear opportunity for you to get that deep knowledge and that deep understanding. It is 5 sessions, 5 sessions. Sorry, 5 weeks, 5 weekends, 10 sessions of comprehensive class. One of the practical things we also do is help people to transition. So some people might have not done HR here before, but you must have the basic fundamental knowledge. You can't just be totally fresh, do this course and expect to, no. You must have some form of education or degree in HR or experience in HR. But it's an immersive class for the next 5 weekends. Is an experience that people don't want to end. You know, it will transform your tongue, your thinking, your orientation. You understand? That is a guarantee. And the link, the team has put the link inside the chat box. You can go for it. A friend reached out to me and said, "Why are you still keeping this price very low?" And I can tell you sincerely, my response to the person is because I said, because number one, I know that vast majority of people that do this course are immigrants. I'm an immigrant myself. I started my journey here struggling, applying 600 jobs, 600 times before I got my first job. And right now, God has helped me. I've worked in different dimensions, even in place of authority. I know what that can look like, but I know how much I've spent investing in knowledge, in learning. And so we're still making it very affordable. If you register today within the next 24 hours, you can pay $1,000. But after that is $1,200. God, I can tell you that my team member changed the price. It was just this morning we had another meeting and said, let's leave it like this, so that we would help people who want to truly move, who can stretch a bit, have this opportunity. And that's why we're leaving this price at this way. So the link is there. You can click the link, you can register. If you have any questions, you can ask our team members on the chats group or personally. But there's no transformation without investments in learning. I know how much I've spent in this country in learning and learning, and I know the doors it has opened. The truth is, you're not competing against the people here, you're competing against the world globally. Everybody from the world is coming to Canada. What will be your differentiator? That has to do with the investment you paid. People have registered already. Class is starting next week. So it's just 1 week for you to make that decision. We'd love to see you in class, and I will stop there so that Takunda can take over, pick some questions, and we go from there. Thank you.
I can allow you to go on and on about the course itself because it's invaluable. You know, we can take questions about the course only if you like, really, because it's that much valuable. But thank you so much, Imole, for getting into that. I can testify it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. And if you have any questions regarding the payment or ways of making payments, feel free to reach out as well, right? That opportunities can be made available if you have any questions regarding that payment. But once again, thank you so much to both of you for sharing. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable in your experiences and in what you have learned along your journeys. We have 1 more minute left in this meeting, but we have a number of questions in the chat. So right off the bat, I can almost say that we are most likely to go over a few minutes. If you can indulge me, everyone, for us to be able to go through these. If you would like to hop off at right at 12 right now, you are free to. But we do have a few questions, so we'll try and go through them as quickly as we can with our speakers. My first question I have up here is from Melissa. She's asking, what are the key principles to maintain management prerogative and right to be heard by the employee? Loaded question. I'll take it again. What are the key principles to maintain management prerogative? I'm assuming that's management rights and right to be heard by the employee.
Is it management prerogative? So I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think management prerogative is different from management's rights. Management rights is more structural and strategic. Nobody, no legal system, no authority can take away that from an organization. You must have the right to run your organization to be profitable, to be protective, to be sustainable, right? And you must be able to make that decision. But management prerogative is still embedded in management rights. It's our prerogative to make a decision to change how we operate this particular machine or this particular business or this particular location. But nevertheless, it must still be in line with three fundamental principles. One, your own governing principle as an organization. You have a vision, you have a mission to be profitable, you have a mission to be sustainable, you have a mission, to protect employees. It must be aligned with that. Number two, it must be aligned with Employment Standard Act in any way you operate it. Right? So you must be able to, that prerogative must be in alignment with that. You must protect people, provide provision, provide security, provide safety, provide the fundamental needs as detected by Employment Standard Act. And the third is it must align with what you have negotiated with the union, the CBA, right? So your prerogative, you cannot just wake up. Yes, you can. You can wake up and say, we want to shut down this operation. Today, we're no more in business. That is your prerogative. After that, you must now start aligning with what does the CBA say, what does the contract say, what does the governance and what are my fiduciary responsibilities? You get what I mean? So nobody's going to take management. In fact, the manifestation or the effectiveness or the translation of management's rights is management's prerogative, is embedded in their prerogative, but must be aligned with these three fundamental principles. I hope I answered that question.
Great insights there. Yeah, great perspective. I would say it goes not your prerogative does not go against your responsibility. So even if you do decide you're going out of business today, you still have responsibility, right? Yeah. Even according to the CBA, you still have, there's something that you have to do in accordance with ESA, in accordance with the CBA, even if you are practicing or, taking your prerogative. Bome, do you have anything to share on that?
Just to respect time, I think we can speak to the next question.
We'll take other questions.
Sure. Okay. The next one I have is, how can HR effectively partner with technically focused management teams who tend to prioritize program goals over people concerned, often perceiving HR as overly employee-centric? Issue, right? That's an everyday HR issue. So how can HR effectively partner with technically focused management teams who tend to prioritize program goals over people concerns, often perceiving HR as overly employee-centric? So production.
Into that very quickly. I'll say a lot of times as HR people, when we're talking to technical people, we speak HR language, not technical language. That is usually the problem.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Listen to what they're saying, listen to what they're not saying. This is the time sometimes to call an aside. Who is the most vocal person? Who is the person with influence? Come, let's talk. What exactly is this issue?
Issues.
When you understand the issue, then you're presenting facts and data to them. I don't go to my leadership team and say, people feel. No. They don't want to hear feelings. They want to see data. What is the survey saying? What is, if people are saying, how many people are saying, how often is this coming up? Extract data for every time people are complaining or people, there's a deviance between what management wants and what people want, is a data collection point.
Mhm.
Collect the data and go back to them and say to them, this is what data is saying. Based on this and my knowledge of these people, this is what this can lead to. So again, we're taking scenario. You can go ahead with this decision. This is what data is saying. These are the possible implications. To meet both of us halfway, this is what you want. This is what the people want. This is what HR is suggesting we do. But a lot of times when people are accusing you of being overly employee-centric, it's because you're not speaking in the same language. Your job is to be the bridge, to be the translator. If people are feeling, people are saying, translate that into the language that technically focused management can understand. As your job, as HR advisor. Translate it. When technically focused management is saying something, you will translate it into what people can understand. That's what you're paid for. Unfortunately or fortunately, it's our job to be that bridge.
And then
we as HR practitioners supporting these two sets of people have to calibrate and understand the language that both sides can understand and speak to them in that language.
amazing. And when you want to sound more firm, then you put the HR verbiage after you've won them over, right? And they've understood what you're talking about. Then you put in the HR risk and all your
policy,
so that they feel HR
policy.
Then you code policy and the CBA and everything, and people will know, right, that it's correlated. You know what your end goal or what you're recommending at the end is tying into what's actually happening, what they've understood from your explanation. Thank you so much for that. The next question we have is, how do you handle workplace mobbing in a non-unionized company with people from different backgrounds, especially when HR, the people you usually turn to, are the ones involved? The Bolaji said they're feeling a bit stuck here. Okay, so I'm assuming this is a non-unionized place, or this is a non-unionized group of employees. So how do you handle workplace mobbing in a non-unionized company with people from different backgrounds, especially when HR, the people you'd usually turn to, are the ones involved?
What does mobbing mean?
Workplace mobbing is like people going against you, like you're almost being sidelined, like people are ganging up, for lack of a better word, against you. Did I get that right, Bolaji? Do you want to just
can I just jump in then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what I mean by mobbing,
Like anger,
is referring to a form of psychological harassment or bullying. You know, it's an advanced way of harassing someone psychologically.
Yeah.
You can sense it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So thank you for that question. I'll not be able to go deep into it because truly, fundamentally, if you are on the side of the employee and not HR, because you said HR is the one, so that's a deeper issue, right? That's from a non-HR angle, you need to understand, what does the organization represent? What are our values, right? What does our policy say? Because those are the things you can revert to. If they're not strong in that, if they're not clear about how they want to operate, and if there's a system for you to capture this, not just by feelings, but by facts and data, capture it and report it to the appropriate body. Let them know this is what is happening. This is how I'm seeing this. This is how it's impacting me. That must be communicated. On the broader side, this is what I want to say generally to everybody. What we do in HR is to enable the organization win in the marketplace. Fundamentally, what we do, our job, either by our structural systems framework, is to help the organization win in the marketplace. From recruiting to training to performance appraisal to paying right, what we do is to help the organization win in the marketplace. If we are doing anything contrary, or what we are doing is counterproductive to that, we are failing as HR. We are failing as HR. And we must understand, I'm a big advocate for HR. I write a lot about HR on LinkedIn, and this is the core of it in my heart. We are the most influential set of people in the organization who can shape lives, who can shape careers and shape destinies within the organizational context. And that's why we must have strong HR professionals working in this space. People who are sound, people who are sound in reasoning, who are sound in technical dimension, people who are able to manage conflict, manage the gray, right? Who are able to hold two truths together. And we're not seeing a whole lot of HR professionals exhibiting this. They're still very transactional, they're still very operational, right? And that's why I keep pushing for that. And that's why, as an HR professional here, you must understand that if you're an HR, it's a calling, right? Because everything we do directly or indirectly impacts somebody's life. And so we must take it very seriously. I'm not apologetic to weak HR. I'm not apologetic at all. Because I get some HR and say, how are you reasoning this way? You should not be in HR. It's like being a police officer, right? And so it's critical that we know that if we're serious about this HR, we must know that we are shaping lives and destiny, and we must understand what it takes from an emotional, psychological, from a technical, political, from a legislative angle to really, really help the organization with, so that people will not be feeling that what is happening to me, so that they want to come to they want to come to your work, your organization to work every day, and that way you are helping the organization win, right? So sorry, I'm a bit, that always gets me, because you should not be in HR if you're not ready to do the business of HR, because it's the business of people and it's a legal arena. Okay, and it makes life better or life worse when we have solid HR professionals who keep learning, unlearning, and helping the organization win. Yes. Sorry, Takonda. Yes, go ahead.
That's
Just
okay.
to add to that very quickly, Mole, you see, this, what you brought out now, the question he's asked shows the danger of when organizations just push people into HR.
Yes.
People with no training, no experience, no passion. The HR role is free. Okay, who is there? Just go to work there. Those are the dangers of this kind of things.
I agree with your responses, and I understand where you're coming from. I totally understand. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Bolaji, for that question. And interestingly, I read a post on LinkedIn, if not yesterday, the day before, that, who does HR report to, or who's for HR, right? If it's an HR context, if HR is having issues, who does HR go to? It's always an ongoing question in the HR world that, who does HR also go and get heard or gives an ear to them when they have HR issues. So yeah, really important question. And even
HR's HR.
yeah,
HR.
and
Like it says, there is no HR for HR. They asked me a question one time during an interview. I was being asked, what don't you like about HR? I said, there is no HR for HR, because the moment you start complaining, like, I've experienced a lot of things, but I just let it slide because coming to Canada as an immigrant, you don't want to raise out, like, talk your own point of view before they'll terminate you, and termination is happening everywhere, left and right, termination. And honestly, I wish I came to Canada as a permanent resident. It would have been more encouraging. I don't mind losing my job. I would look for another job right away. Things like that.
Okay. So let me say this. But like, maybe you should see me. Send me a message personally and see me, because sometimes there is sometimes it's an organizational issue. Sometimes a perception and interpretation issue. Sometimes it's also because of your frame of reference, right? There's always tools to know how to handle certain situations. Terminating you is an extreme, and they will never terminate you without having tangibles. And sometimes we play into those tangibles, and it creates a case for them. There is a level of context that we must have to navigate this. And this is painful for me, because I've seen a lot of immigrants terminated just because they didn't have that understanding and insight. And you understand, and they also fell into that trap. So it can be tricky. Are you getting what I'm saying? And you feeling this way, you saying this way, obviously some certain things that happen. You can't change how the world will respond. You can empower yourself. And
Right.
that's my clear feedback to you. You have to empower yourself, because you can't continue in that pattern. People will always be people, as in human beings, always, and it has nothing to do with Canadians.
Mm.
It's a human element. Are you getting it? It's you that must have that tough skin and that understanding and perspective to deal with those realities, including everybody you're dealing with. Does that make sense? Okay.
It makes sense a lot, and I think I should say this as well. Like the last time they did this, section, that was I attended the one you did last year. Was it January or February? I even attended it at work, and I asked questions. I enjoy it. You even gave me, like, an option to pay twice. Like, I really wanted to take the course, and um, for some reasons, I wasn't able. But honestly, I am very much like I follow you on LinkedIn. You know,
Okay.
your
Yes.
post.
Yeah,
Thank
well, thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Bolaji. I hope you registered this time. I hope
Yeah.
you make it happen and register this time. I hope you stretch yourself. I have used credit cards to the flats to register for courses. It's transformational, right? I hope you
Honestly,
register this time. I'll see you on the inside. But let's talk.
I have your number first.
Okay.
For
And
sure.
Is there room for instrumental payments?
No, we don't discuss that openly. It's a private arrangement, and it has to be something that will work for us. But please send us a chat. The team will engage on that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, one last quick question that someone
Mhm.
had in the chat was, what specific considerations should be taken into account when hiring under a collective agreement? In short, I would say your collective agreement answers that.
Thank you.
But I know maybe Imole or Bomi wants
No. You are also an LR pro, so you can answer that for us.
But hiring under a CBA is what it is. It is what it is. Whatever is spelled out in the CBA is how you hire. And seniority rules in unionized environments. You post the job internally. Most senior person with a skill and ability first go through the seniority list. If for some reason through your seniority list you cannot find anyone, then after the posting period you are able to post externally and then hire. Okay. All right.
And
Well,
if you have a recall list, don't forget to look at your recall list too.
recall list as well. Yeah, if you're in a maybe layoff period like we are in organization, if you have to recall anyone from layoff, you have to do that first and in the job before you hire.
Excuse me, please, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Just quickly because we are way over our time.
Okay, so most job posts I have seen that relates to LR will always ask for experience. So um what should someone who has just completed LR training do for an entry level LR job?
Okay. So let me answer that quickly.
Especially when most of the job posts do not show that they are willing to hire someone without an experience in labor relations.
Okay. So let me say this to you. There's nothing like entry level of labor relations. You understand? There's nothing like that. There are very, very few universities that actually do labor relations as a degree, right? It's HR and maybe industrial relations. I remember when I did my master's in Nigeria in Unilag, it was MILR. It was HR and labor relations, right? What is critical for you is number one, you're an HR professional. You've had the training and fundamental knowledge of working in HR. And if you have not worked in LR before, in a labor relations environment, but you have taken a course, a
Okay,
certificate
you have
course,
the knowledge.
that is experience, right? That is, you can capture that experience. And if you take our course, for instance, we support people who are transitioning or who want to go into LR, we support them in interview prep. There's also a session that's focused on that. So the critical thing is you must not think as an entry level person. You're an HR person, you can solve their problem, you have a solid understanding of how labor relations work. What is critical is that in front of the recruiter or the hiring manager, you're able to speak the language, you understand the context, and when the rubber hits the road, you know where to go to. You know how to get help. That's what they're looking for. Every other thing is progressive. So you must have that mindset that you're not new, you're not entry level, you understand HR, now you know the body of LR, and now you can help the organization. And how voracious you are in learning and unlearning and applying yourself, they will see the passion and they'll give you opportunity. Every one of us was given opportunity at some point. And I can mention five people on top of my head that have never done LR before, that did our courses, and all their first jobs was LR, because they were prepared and they were ready to do the hard work. That's all that matters.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Imole. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to to sit with us today, to listen, to learn. In closing, I have something that I scribbled here that I said, in labor relations, credibility is currency, and credibility is built through consistency, fairness, and the courage to stand firm when it matters most. For those aspiring to grow in this space, invest in your knowledge, invest in your judgment, seek out complex conversations, learn from experienced practitioners. Reflect after every difficult case, because authority in labor relations is not claimed, it is earned. Case by case, decision by decision. So this journey is from being operationally competent to becoming strategically influential. With that said, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, making the time. Register for the course if you can. Get into that chat, get to chat with our team members if you need to talk about getting into the course, and you will not regret it in your HR and LR journey. From me, Imole, Bomi, the team behind the scenes, happy Valentine's again to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Spending your day with us, your 1.5 hours with us today. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Toronto, Ontario, Canada, we're signing out. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Have a good day, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Okwe. Thank you, Takunda. You rock. And
Thank you,
Bomi,
Takunda.
Bomi is global head of HR. Oga Madam. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that joined. It's an amazing session. I mean, I'm passionate about HR. That's all my life, HR. And the fact that you showed up today on Valentine's Day, that speaks so much about you. So, new things are going to be happening to you in your HR journey in Canada or in any country. And we had people from different countries.
Yeah.
Right.
Joy.
Yeah,
So,
everyone who's still here, feel free to chime in if you'd like to chat quickly.